everybody. Welcome to Randy Sands and the Mediumship Crew. Tonight, we have an interesting topic. I had seen a quote by George Bernard Shaw in a very interesting book. This was sent to me probably a couple of years ago by a very well-known groomer. I'm not going to say who, and I'm going to send a nice thank you because I've had it all this time and I never picked it up until just in the last few days. And I saw a quote that really jarred my thought process. And I think we'll talk about it. For those of you that are new, we welcome you. For those that have been here before, welcome back. And we thank you for supporting us in sharing spiritual content. And we encourage you to like, subscribe, and share, and help us spread spiritual content. And also, if there's anything that you would like us to bring up, please let us know. So, in reading this book, I saw, I guess we'll call it a quote. I'm sure that's what the right word would be. And it said, life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And that hit me. I was like, boom, yes. It really resonated with me because finding yourself. Okay, so if I have to find myself, well, I don't have a treasure map. I don't have a list of clues. Where do I start? What rock do I go and turn over? What do I do? But life being about creating yourself, that I can wrap my head around, because while we may have a life agreement before we're born, it's still a blank canvas. There's 1,000 roads that lead to the same place. And we can create the way we get there. So for me, it was pretty powerful. So I want to open it up and let everybody chat about their thoughts on the quote. Okay, and again, crickets make more noise.
Okay, I'll go. I know what you're saying, but I think you have to find yourself some before you can create yourself.
Okay.
Would be my take on that.
That sounds true, because of all of the things that you go through when you're a teenager and kind of, with the hormones and everything like that. You're right. You kind of have to maneuver and find out what you really want and where you're really going and everything as you mature. But then I think you have to be open to like adventures and opportunities that are always outside your comfort zone in order to grow and to learn about different things, and to more or less, even if you have that fear feeling inside of you, to go ahead and do the things that present themselves to you, because I think everything happens for a reason.
Okay, so just another food for thought. So those of us that had semi-good or semi-good beginnings, I can see that, but what about those of us that didn't? Some of us maybe got more lost in the beginnings than found.
What do you mean by that?
Well, some of us that had really rough beginnings.
I did.
Okay, yeah.
I
So
totally relate.
yeah, so some of us may have gotten more lost than found.
Oh, I'm sure at times everybody does, but that's part of growing.
Right. So that's why I said, it's everybody's got an opinion, and they're all valid and they're all good.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to find your authentic self before you can create what you want, before you even know what you want to create. You have to kind of know who you are and what what you want to create. You know, how do you know what you want to create if you don't know who you are?
And if you know who you are, how do you could still say the same thing? How do you know what you want to create? And there's nothing to say
Yeah,
you
you
can't,
can.
and there's nothing to say you can't create yourself many times over.
Right.
We do. True. You know,
Anyone else?
Well, I had an experience today where I was having a lot of anxiety and didn't want to go. I just had to go to the grocery store. Okay, I mean, this should not be a big deal, but I almost couldn't go in. I mean, I was having that much anxiety, and not particularly about the grocery store. But I went in because I went through the comfort zone or the lack thereof, and I went on in, and I ran into this guy I knew, a friend of mine from high school. He was actually the younger brother of a really good friend of mine when I was in high school, and we've keep in touch off and on. We run into each other in the grocery store. He also has a lot of anxiety, so it's pretty funny. But anyway, so we're standing there talking. But almost as soon as I saw him, because I really do like him so much, I was less anxious. And as we were talking, maybe 5, 10 minutes into it, it wasn't that long, probably wasn't even 10 minutes, he started to get anxious. And it was really funny because I was like, I had calmed down. And so I was sort of like, trying to help calm him down and letting him go because he wanted to go. Um, but as I walked out of the store, I was thinking, isn't that funny? Because I am so much better and less anxious helping someone else. And I just really need to get past my crap so that I can help more people because that's where I am. That's what I'm really good at. And it's and what I like to do. I mean, it was part of that too. But anyway, so it was just like a moment of you got to get through that discomfort. Because I do know who I am. I'm a nice person. I'm a helpful person. I do like helping people and whatever. And it was just amazing. It was just an interesting that I even had that thought as I was walking out of the store. I was like, I really ought to just pay attention to that. And sort of what Tammy said, you got to get through the uncomfortable part.
and you would have
So
never seen him if you didn't do just that,
if I hadn't walked in there, yeah.
Right.
Well, if I'd stood outside and just like trembled, but he might have walked out.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it was a much better experience.
Right.
Joanne?
Can you just read the quote just one more time?
Sure. It says, life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself.
The verbiage, finding yourself, is almost puts a negative feel on you. I'm already lost. Like I was just born, but now I'm already lost. It's almost like the anointment of sin, like you're already putting negative vibes into me versus the other half of that. The world is my oyster. I can make it whatever I want, whenever I want. So that's my take.
That was mine too. It's like, I don't want to have to worry about finding myself. Where do I even start to look? But for me, it was very freeing to think that instead of worrying about finding myself, create myself.
Mhm.
That's the way I took it.
It's like putting one foot backwards or moving forward. Which way are you going to go?
Yeah, that's the way I took it too. Anyone else?
I don't know. I'm kind of sitting here and while you were talking about it and getting the topic started, one of the main things that ran through my mind was I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
Uh-huh.
As I start waking up, um, the finding is happening. I mean, because like, Tammy and somebody else said, like as a, as a teenager and growing up, I made a lot of messed up decisions. It was way off any kind of path that I would think that I'm trying to be on now. So it's like I don't know. When we meet in the Course of Miracles, there's a topic that talks about whether we're making or creating. And like when we're working with our creator and divine spirit, whatever you want to talk about, we're creating, we're extending that love. And when we're acting on ego, we're making things, you know, and trying to build ourselves up and being more separate than like when we're part of love and part of the divine part of universe, and we're creating as part of that what we're here to do, create love and connect and serve others and all that other stuff. So while I'm doing that stuff, I am finding myself and I'm waking up and getting to know myself more.
Yeah, I almost felt like it was in some ways like a play on words in a way. To make you think. Anyone else? Kathy, Stacy, you guys want to add or no? There was another thing, where did I put the book, that I saw in this book that kind of struck me too, which was, where is it? People who feel good about themselves produce good results, and people who produce good results feel good about themselves.
Try that again.
People who feel good about themselves produce good results. People who produce good results feel good about themselves.
It's like win-win. Well, and don't they say like you have to be happy before you're successful? So the idea is that you have to be happy, I guess, with yourself or with who you are in order to be successful in whatever you decide to be, or do.
Well, what about the old saying, fake it till you make it?
Yeah, same thing.
Because what he was saying in there is, there's times when he feels crappy, but he pushes himself to do things. And when he accomplishes things, then he feels good. He's like, so, I didn't start off feeling good, but once I produced good results, I felt good. And he was saying how, like everybody else, sometimes the monkey brain takes over and it's hard to have the positive thoughts, so then it becomes like the fake it till you make it type thing.
Randy, what was the title of the book and the author? I couldn't see when. If you hold it up, I still can't see it. So
The Power of Positive Doing, and the author is BJ Gallagher.
thank you.
And it's a very short little book. Look at, it's a small book, but I'm finding amazing stuff in it. So what do we think on that?
I think both ways you said it sounded good to me. I didn't hear a negative in that, but I just believe that if you're looking to do something already, you have the drive or the passion inside, the light, right? And then you go and do it, your light gets brighter, and of course you attract what you put out. So to me, both ways that you said that sounded
Yeah.
good, not negative.
I just have to say though, I don't think people necessarily fake it to they make it. Most people who live a positive try to
Right.
live. Nobody lives a positive life experience 100% of the time.
Right.
That's not reality. And to try to convince yourself that you need to be positive 100% of the time is going to get you nowhere in a hamster wheel moving forward. But most people who try to live in more of a positive won't allow any type of lower energy or lower emotional on the lower emotional scale. Not that they don't have it, they have it. They don't allow themselves to sit in it, to stagnate them, and I think that's one of the most important things. When you're first starting out, you're like, okay, I'll be positive, I'll be positive, I'll be positive. And you're sitting there going, I hate my job. I hate it so much. And it's not going to change because you hate it, and you're faking it isn't going to make it in a way either. It's like, okay, I don't like my job. I need to change it. And like Tammy said, you got to step out of your comfort zone into that kind of not area of fear, but area of uncertainty,
Right.
and push yourself to kind of, do more. I still like to go, I just like to say, because Joanne's kind of right, that find yourself. I just wanted to say, Randy, you should try to find, there's a poem and it's called The Divinity of Man. And it kind of talks about, in a way, I don't think it's necessarily finding yourself, it's recognizing what's already within. Because it says, like, we'll hide the divinity of man in the highest mountain. They will never climb that high. And someone says, oh, but yes, they will. Okay, so we'll hide it in the deepest part of the sea. They'll never dive that deep. Oh, yes, they will. Okay, well, we'll bury it, in the sand. No, they'll find it. And then he goes, we'll put it within. They'll never find it.
And I
that.
agree. I think that the quote was actually meant to be freeing, because so many people are consumed with finding themselves that I think it was, in my mind, it was meant to remove that obsession or concentration, if you will, on trying to find themselves and to create. But I agree. It's, either way you look at it, it's within, and I think that faking it till you make it, I agree with you. You can't really fake it till you make it. But I think that that's an expression used for people just starting out. I know a couple of people that when they were starting out, that was their slogan, and it helped them. Will it help everybody? I don't know. I know it helped a couple of them. So I think I really do. I think it's all a play on words, and it's what resonates with each person.
Definitely, because finding yourself, what if you don't define that as having to be lost in the first place in order to find yourself? What if you just think of it as every little treasure that you come about and it changes your life, that you're finding more about yourself, right? So you don't have to be lost in the first place in order, if you think of it that way, about finding yourself, because we're forever, finding the treasures in ourselves. And it's not because we're lost in the first place. It's just that we're growing and we're, gaining more knowledge and happiness and ways to be happy and manifest things in our life.
Or allowing ourselves, from what we kind of know deep inside of what does make us happy, and the kind of person that we are, allowing ourselves to be that person, as opposed to listening either to the monkey mind or the, other people telling you, well, you can't be like that, stuff like that. Because I've never thought that at trying to find myself, so to speak, that actually has never come up in my personage, but but learning to accept that what I know about me is okay to know about me, and I'm okay the way I am. And it doesn't matter what other people who I value their opinion, it doesn't matter that they don't understand me or that they don't like what I am, what I do, what I, whatever. Or that they judge me from their point of view, or think that I can be something else. I can't. I am me. And it's sort of like, I need to get much more comfortable and create my comfort zone as to what I am, who I am, and just be okay. And that, so I don't know where that goes, but it wasn't about being lost. It was just about being okay with it.
And somebody said something about being authentic to yourself. I used to be a yes person. Anybody asked me to do anything, I would say, yeah, no problem. I can do that, thinking, oh, I'm going to have more friends and they're going to like me better and let me make them happy. And before I knew it, I wasn't happy because I had all these things I had to do for everybody, So as I got older, and I think it's part of becoming a little bit wiser as you go along, is that for one, you can find that balance, and say things, have the wherewithal for yourself to say no sometimes, or when you really don't want to do something, because now at this point in my life, I am very authentic. I am who you see. I'm nothing more, nothing less, and I am totally happy with who I am and the way
Right.
that I am in this world. And for me, that's being authentic to myself, and I like who I am, and it really doesn't matter if Joe Schmo down the road doesn't like me. I have people that don't like me just the first time they meet me, they just don't like me. And it's
Who
okay.
couldn't like you?
It's
That's-
okay.
Yeah.
Well, a jealousy thing comes in a lot, when, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You just have to learn to be authentic to your own feelings and what makes you happy, and how you can just sit there and just say, I'm me and I'm here on earth and I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm happy with it, and
I'm always
sorry-
me. I
sorry
just
you're
never
not.
understand. Yeah. I'm always me. I don't understand when, like people don't get it. I don't know. And don't like me. Okay, well, whatever.
I know, right. It's got to be their thing, not mine.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't do anything to hurt anybody, so there's really no reason.
Okay. Anyone else? No? I think we covered it then. What do y'all think?
On that last one, I just want to say that I'm finding that what I put in kind of is what I put out. If I'm putting in a bunch of garbage, a lot of garbage is going to come out. If I'm putting in good stuff, then good stuff can come out. And I'm finding that to apply it personally, like I've got a lot of problems and a lot of pain and whatever, but I'm getting out of my comfort zone and getting out there while I can and walking, and the end result is I'm losing weight, and because I'm losing weight, there's less pressure on my body, which is causing less pain, which is making me feel more motivated, which is lifting my spirits. And just like the whole process is like, positive, I mean, sure, there are bad
Right.
days, but I'm kind of like getting on the other side of that, where there's more good days than bad days now, because I'm putting a lot of positive in and a lot of positives coming out.
Right.
One step at a
Domino
time.
effect. It's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
You just have to get past the first step.
All righty. Anyone else before we sign off? Yes, no, maybe? All righty. Well, then I think we can say goodnight to all the good, happy people. Jack, you want to say goodnight? Everybody want to say goodnight?
Good night,
Good
good
night, good
happy
people. With enthusiasm. Come on now.
Bye, good people.
I'll come back now, you hear?
Yeah, I like that one.
Toodaloo.